Well, I'm just waiting for this little power shower. It's almost finished. And then I'll give you a tour of the front yard. I'm Carla. This is Living a Rogue Life. Let me show you around. So right outside my door and to the left, these are turnip greens. So bought the turnips at the grocery store, chopped off the tops, planted the tops, ate the bulbs, tops grew. Now I have turnip greens. This is a 2-year-old asparagus. I have 2 of them. Won't be able to do anything, and they did get stunted. They were coming up when we got the freeze and the snow, and so yeah. This is chamomile. So this is the 2nd year, and so I will be able to have chamomile tea. These are pickling cucumbers. Now my pickling cucumbers will trellis up and over. My zinnias. All of these crazy zinnias are self-seeded from last year. I did not plant zinnias this year. All of this came back on its own. I mean, there's way too many. I just haven't had a chance to thin them out. They're growing outside on the ground. They're in the raised bed. That's a 4x4 bed. I have a soaker hose that I have not got buried yet. But again, zinnias. And then if we look down here, we'll see these are squash. These are my summer squash. So I have yellow summer squash. These are from Haas Tools, and I don't remember, it's their new series, the little round squash. They had 8-ball and 1-ball, and I don't remember what they're all called, but so this is the yellow squash, and it's actually doing really well. And then the smaller squash are patty pan. These are a little white patty pan squash. These are going to be my slicing cucumbers, and then they will trellis up over this arch. And then I have additional slicer cucumbers on this side that will trellis up and meet in the middle, hopefully. This is where I will be putting my watermelon. You can see my soaker hose. And then here's my sunflower. So right now the sunflower is it actually is doing pretty good. And then my cotton. This is cotton that was planted last year that I did not take out of the ground. But I did take some seeds from the cotton plant and planted them down in the bottom just to see if they would come back. And yeah, so they're starting to come back. Beautiful flowers on a cotton plant. So let me back up so you can see my whole yard. Maybe. So yeah, we've got the cotton, and then I've got my flowers for sunflowers, watermelon, cucumber, 2 squash, and then pickling cucumbers. Over here I have all my blackberries in my front flower bed, and they are in bloom, so I'm expecting to have at least enough to make a cobbler. And then because of the freeze that we had this year, my little blueberry came back. And now my little blueberry is growing in a 5-gallon bucket. But let's jump to the backyard and I'll show you what's going on back there. Alright, so we've been repotting or up-potting back here today, and as you can see, I have a real mess. Dirt everywhere. And I actually started too many tomato plants, so I have taken my extra sprouts and just put them in pots everywhere. Over here we're starting red bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, orange bell peppers. We have hatch seeds from our hatch chilies last year. I've got holy basil. got parsley. And then at the shop, we made these racks that hold my window boxes. So down here, I've got more orange peppers. And you can see I made racks to hold the window boxes. But most of this is herbs and pepper starts. I do have beets started in a few of these. And then over here, everywhere you look in my backyard, something is planted. But, a little watermelon I've got to transplant to the front yard. I still have collards. The bugs are starting to get to them. They just came out, so I'm going to be spraying for bugs later today, late in the evening. And then my potatoes in this tub. Now my potatoes are blooming, and I'm just waiting for them to start to die back, and then I'll dig them up. Over here I've got cherry tomatoes. These cherry tomatoes are going to just go wild. I'm not going to be doing any trellising. Simply just going to let them spill over on the ground and do whatever they want. I came back here to mow today. My lawnmower decided it was going to break. And then on my little camp table over here, I have the Bull's lemon transplant that he sent me starting. So I've got it in here in some really rich organic dirt, more like compost than dirt. But he said that's what it likes. Hanging basket. This is a $4 hanging basket that I bought at Lowe's, and that is a start of sage. So hopefully it'll just spill over. This is from these are from last year. So I had Malabar spinach. You just can't kill it. I had more Malabar spinach than I knew what to do with. This year before I repotted, I took the sprouts and planted them in the little 4-inch containers. And so now I have a flat of Malabar spinach that I'm going to just give away to anyone who may want it. And more peppers and more sage, lots more sage and more peppers. And the peppers go on and on. Here's the Malabar spinach that I continued in the bucket. So I'm going to let this vine up this fence right here. Alright, we have jalapeno peppers. And we're just starting to put on a couple little peppers down here, jalapenos. I probably have 8 or 10 in there. And then over here, these are my Anaheim peppers. Somewhere. Hard to see because they blend really well. But, Anaheim peppers. And that thing's just loaded with flowers. Kale. Tomatoes. More collards, which I need to pull up and give to the chickens. More tomatoes. 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 And more tomatoes. I like tomatoes. These are Haas Tools Provider bush beans. I put them in buckets. So I've got 3 pots with the Provider bush beans. Another tomato. This is my regular zucchini. We do have flowers, but I do not have any starts in here yet. More little tomatoes. Now I succession planted the tomato plants just so that I could have one bucket ready at a time. So, and I've got 3 plants in each tub. On this side, I have beans. So these again are the Provider bush beans in this pot. But in each of these tubs, I put pole beans in the back that I'm going to run up the fencing. And then I put top pick beans in the front. So we will see how this works out. What I'm hoping is I've got the bush top pick in the front. I've got the pole beans growing in the back. Here I have a yellow zucchini that started. And again, more tomatoes. And then my kale plant that's still going. It sort of looks like a little palm tree. Alright, take you around to the back of the garden. My green stalk is planted with all beans. So again, those are top pick beans. I did have 3 seeds left, which are these here, that are the purple dragon tongues. And then my table has additional, a lot of this will be restarted. I've got 3 peppers going over here. And then another collard that I need to pull out. Sage that I'm not real pleased with. Behind me I have eggplant. And they are just starting to put out some little baby eggplants. But lots of blooms. Very pretty plant. Alright, here in these two beds, I have Hoss Jambalaya Okra. So, I think I said that right, Okra. Not a lot of it came up. I think I got it because I put it in awful early. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 15 okra plants that came up. And then this is my garlic. There are 3 types of garlic in here. First time to ever grow garlic, so I'm not sure how long that's going to take. Or, you know, if it's going to even turn into a bulb, but I hope so. Alright, so this piece of gutter that's hanging on the fence has celery seed in there. So, going to see if the celery will grow. My onions did not do anything. So these onions are gonna, I'll pull them up and put them on a baked potato, I guess. My first time growing dill. So this is a dill. I figured if I'm gonna do pickling this year, I'm gonna need dill. And it's actually really pretty. So looking forward to using that. More onions that really did not produce. And these onions were started back in October. Here are my strawberries. And I have not had any luck with strawberries ever. And so I'm excited to see that I'm actually getting strawberries. Jojo, get down. So yeah. And it did get dumped over. It had more strawberries growing in it, but it got dumped, and the top row is the only one that didn't get emptied. Over here, we have lunch. So these guys are going to freezer camp in the next week or two. Because I have so many babies in the brooder. So, dust it up, dust it up. We got 2 eggs in there. But, so yeah, so that's my little garden. That's what's going on in here. Everything in tubs, everything, I know, pots, buckets, 5-gallon buckets, green stalks, planters on the table. But, that's how I roll.